What, this? It's nothing. Really, it's nothing, Ed. It's just, it's just Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Have a good time. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened.
Okay, you little bastards. The time has come. The moment we've all been waiting for. It's the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. Let's go.
What up, YouTube? The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve back at it for another exciting podcast, and welcome to the show, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Did I just disappear on your end? Because I just got kicked off. But I'm back.
Yeah, you disappeared, and I was like, oh, you must not have wanted to do the show today. I guess I'm going solo here because we're live. I can't stop now.
Well, it was funny. It said you're live on YouTube in 3, 2, 1, and then it was like, you have a connection issue with YouTube, and it bumped me right out of here. So.
Interesting. Well, hopefully we're live on YouTube. I don't know.
Well, who knows? I'll keep an eye on it, but yeah. All right, hey, man, for whoever's listening live or in the recorded version, welcome to another fun-filled episode of The Vocal Minority with Nicholas and Steven.
Yes, and see our socials. We've got a ton of stuff going on in our social media world. Check us out on TikTok. Check us out on YouTube. I mean, we're on Reddit. We're on Threads. We're on Blue Sky and some others that I maybe didn't mention.
Right. Anything credible we're on, so that means pretty much everything you've heard of, except Truth Social, which I'm sick of even calling it Truth Social since there's very little true things going on there, other than it is a social media platform.
We're not on the X platform either. You know, that was just a choice we made as a show. So I don't know, for better or for worse, I guess. You can see our webpage, vocalminority.net, and call our comment line, 844-48-VOCAL. Now you have all the info that you need to know to listen to the show and get in contact with us. So that's enough of that.
Enough said.
Thank you, Stan.
Indeed. And I'm looking at our YouTube page, and we're not on it, so I don't know. We'll just do our normal show, and people can listen later.
All right. I'm good with that. Yeah. Hey, dude, I didn't realize, just because I guess, I don't know, the mind has been busy as of late, but Memorial Weekend is upon us. I didn't know this was a holiday weekend coming up until my mom mentioned something to me yesterday. But what do we celebrate? Are we remembering veterans on Memorial Day? Is that what this is all about?
Well, I have a whole thing about do's and don'ts and etiquettes of Memorial Day weekend that we can get into now or later. I don't care. Do we want to talk about Really American, or are we doing that later?
Yeah, no, we should talk about Really American. But okay. Yeah, I just didn't know what we were celebrating. So you'll cover that.
We will cover that. And you probably should not be using the word celebrating. I think that may be on the list. So we'll get there.
Celebrating. Okay. All right. I'll ponder that.
It's about dead people. Not to give away where this list is going, but the weekend's about dead people.
Yeah, well, don't you... Is honor and celebrate any different?
Yes.
Is it?
It is, yeah.
I celebrate you, I honor you. I feel like that's kind of the same.
I mean, I understand what you're trying to say, yes, but you celebrate things in a happy, festive way. You honor them in a commemorating sort of way.
Oh, so many times instead of a funeral, I call it, we're having a celebration of life.
Yeah, I think that's a BS sort of way to try to spin a funeral into a positive thing. You know?
All right. Well, we'll dive into all of that and maybe learn some shit. I don't know.
Maybe. All right. So, so Really American Media. Let's talk about this for a minute because crazy shenanigans are going on over there. So for those of you that don't know, haven't figured it out, Nick and I joined Really American Media a little over a month ago. And this is a progressive news platform. They do political commentary. It's different on every social media platform, I've noticed. Some of it, they do memes. Some they do some written article things. And others, like YouTube, they do videos. And they have hosts like you and me and some other cool dudes. And we all do little short form videos of political news of the day, commentary. And then we're doing this show here live on their platform a couple days a week.
Correct. All so far, everything you've said is correct.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Yes.
And yeah, so things have been going really well. I mean, that channel's got over 500,000 subscribers. In the month or so that we've been on, they've added another 30,000. Not that we're taking sole credit for that, but I'm just saying the channel is growing and they're bringing on new hosts like us. And things have been really good. And then this morning, Nick and I get up and we're ready to do some political news and commentary. And what happened?
Well, I was just getting ready to say goodbye to my wife, and then you texted me and you were like, "You got a second to jump on for RA?" And I didn't know if I was just jumping on to talk to you. That's kind of what I figured. But yeah, you put us on line with Kenny, and God, dude, we got late last night. I saw something come through on our Slack page, and it was talking about a video that Tony had done, and something got flagged in the video. So there was a few screenshots in Slack of this back and forth that Kenny was having with the YouTube page.
Yeah.
And it was all very confusing to me, dude, because it was a piece of his video that YouTube did not take a liking to. And I was shocked by what it was.
Yeah, so somebody flagged it for violating community standards. And in fairness, Nick and I have gotten that flag many times on many platforms. And 9 times out of 10, you always have the option to appeal these things, because a lot of the times it's an algorithm, it's a bot, it's some automated thing that reads
Right.
something it doesn't like, or, gets some visual. But when you get a human to review it, 9 times out of 10, the human's like, oh, this was a mistake. You should not be flagged for this. We have only gotten flagged legitimately one time on TikTok, where basically we got suspended for like 48 hours, and then we were sort of on a watch list for a week or two, where we didn't get much traffic, and TikTok was making sure we weren't going to do anything crazy.
They were chaperoning us,
Yes, exactly. So one of Tony's videos, and Tony does great stuff, but it got flagged for sexual content. Some sort of sexual community, violation of the standards, and none of us do anything sexual with our videos there.
Right. Like you said, I mean, this is just all political commentary. So at the very most, like if Trump has raped somebody, like we'll talk about that, or has, been accused of that type of thing. Like we'll talk about that stuff. But like, yeah, we're not just talking about, beating off on Really American.
Right. I will say I did a video on Melania Trump a week ago. And at one point, I was referring to her as a trophy wife, and I put a picture up on the screen, the famous one where she's naked, except it had a big black bar across her bosoms, and I cut it off, from the waist up. So I had a moment of like, is this taking it too far? But it's a censored picture, and that did not raise any red flags. And that I actually think is worse than what Tony got in trouble for.
Dude, are we going to play what Tony got in trouble for?
Yeah, let's play the clip. And, just I guess to, fast forward to the end here, the Really American Media channel has been suspended from YouTube for a week because of this violation. And you got to be thinking to yourself, okay, you guys must have pushed the limits pretty far if YouTube, not only did you lose your appeal, but they flat out, for the first offense, suspended the channel for a week. And keep in mind, this channel's legit. Like there's ad revenue coming in. There's people that work for this company. Like it's real stuff. There's multiple podcasts happening there every week, multiple of these videos. Like this is a real business that just got shut down for a week because of this video that I told Nick, like, let's play it. I know we're on YouTube as well, but this video is all over YouTube is the other issue.
Yeah, I mean, this is tame on every level. I think you'll agree after you watch it, but I mean, we see things on Saturday Night Live that are far worse than what you're about to see here.
Of course. And by the way, just if anyone's... go ahead. I'm sorry. If anyone's listening to this, what we're watching, this is some sort of... I don't know if it's a sketch show. I think it was a bit for some award show, or I don't know, but basically it's Rudy Giuliani. This is in the 90s. Rudy Giuliani is dressed in drag, and a young Donald Trump, pre-apprentice even, is on here, and they're in some sort of shopping mall. So if you're just listening to it, that's the scene that you're listening to.
Yes.
You're really beautiful, and a woman that looks like that has to have her own special scent.
Oh, thank you. Maybe you could tell me what you think of this scent.
I like that.
This may be the best of all. Oh, you dirty boy, you. Oh. Donald, I thought you were a gentleman.
You can't say I didn't try.
No, you can't.
Mayor Giuliani, he's given away over $2 billion
That's
in
good.
corporate.
So the thing at the end there, which is the clip that was used on Really American, is Rudy Giuliani and drag sprays perfume on his fake boobs, and Donald Trump puts his face into Giuliani's fake bosom.
Yeah, he's taking too much of a smell of this cologne, and I guess he forces his face into her bosom, and then she smacks him, and I guess, like it lines up with Donald Trump being SA, sexual assault, a predator.
Perv? Yes.
Yeah, and he says, like, had to try. Well, we all know, us real people, no, you don't have to try. You don't have to do like you just did, but this is something that Giuliani put out. So, it's just so crazy. They're fully clothed.
Yes, this is a recorded bit, and even in the bit, Giuliani sprays the stuff on his boobs on purpose, and yes, slaps Trump when he puts his face in there. Like, it was a bad comedy bit. It actually was not very funny per se, and it was disturbing to see Giuliani in full drag like that. But regardless, the clip that was used was Trump putting his face into the bosoms of Giuliani in drag, and YouTube declared that to be sexually inappropriate, suspended all of us for a week.
Yeah, and I have to think that it was basically based on the fact that he did it without asking. And while I understand, that's, hey, we don't want to do that in this world. YouTube? Are you kidding me? The things that I see on YouTube on a daily basis that I would never think, oh, I should report this. That's not right. This doesn't even rank close to that, dude.
Nick and I have been on the radio for nearly 30 years, and we have become, unfortunately, very well acquainted with the FCC rules on what is obscenity and what is inappropriate. That does not meet any definition of it I have ever heard. There is no bad language. There's no nudity. Even if you want to say that it looks like he's forcing himself on her, it's a comedy bit. It's pre-recorded from like 30 years ago. And by the way, Tony got that clip from YouTube. I sent that clip to you from YouTube. I put it into YouTube today. Giuliani Trump drag queen. There's 100 pages that have that video. So why in the hell did we get flagged for it? And I have a theory.
I know you do. I think we both have theories on this. Share with us, please.
Well, I mean, we have seen the Trump administration putting overt pressure on media outlets not to make Trump look dumb. He's gone after SNL, Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel. He's got this lawsuit with ABC. And we just heard in the news today that the hosts of The View were pressured by their bosses not to criticize Trump because Trump publicly and behind the scenes is going after media companies for making fun of him. So why would YouTube, who is a major conglomerate tech company, and we all know Zuckerberg and all these tech companies have been called out on the carpet, and why would they ban that clip? Why would they say that clip is inappropriate? I would argue if it wasn't Trump in that clip, they never would have flagged it. There wouldn't be an issue. But it sort of seems like they're being overtly sensitive because it's our sacred King Trump dictator leader that they're erring on the side of caution and stomping on our free speech rights. And I know they're a private company and they can do that, but it is not okay to be bending to, White House pressure to censor comedians, entertainers like what we're doing.
It's not okay for fear of retribution. I mean, that's why they did it, is our theory. You can also look at this and be like, this is a great example. Last week or sometime soon, we talked about Pepe Le Pew on this podcast and why, those cartoons weren't necessarily acceptable anymore. I guarantee you, if you go on YouTube, you'll see all sorts of Pepe Le Pew. And they wouldn't do it for that. I guarantee you. And it's the same type of thing. Like he's kind of forcing himself on somebody without their permission. So yeah, this has to be political, dude. The only thing I can think of is it's either pressure that YouTube is actually getting and starting to bend their knee to because they don't want the trouble, or the person who looked at it and said, "Oh, I'll make the final determination," is just a MAGA idiot, Trumper.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about that. Yeah. No, I didn't even think about that angle. You're right. So it probably is either overt pressure or some mega person didn't find the joke very funny and they have the authority because you can't appeal above whoever you appeal to. There's no Supreme Court in the YouTube world.
Right.
So,
yeah.
You're right. But this reeks of being politically oriented because like I said, the same clip is still on there all over YouTube, but we used it in a political manner because it was used as a setup to a joke that was going to obviously, make Trump look dumb. And obviously there's bikini contests. There's all sorts of things all over YouTube that would be way more graphic and explicit as far as a woman's bosom goes or whatever. But because this one involves Trump, I strongly believe, like you said, whether it's overt or just someone's personal opinion, that is why an entire company just got banned for a week, losing ad revenue, potential sponsors, and whatever else.
Yeah, and you have to think about this on so many different levels because just free speech and the Constitution, but you also have to think about the fact that like this is not little Joey's YouTube page. Like this is a YouTube page that pays people's rent. It's a business. It brings in money, and I don't know how many of you listening in the audience have taken any time to try and build up followers and subscribers, but it is painstaking. Sometimes it can be expensive because you're trying to get ideas on how to do different things, but like this is not to be messed around with. This is a business.
Absolutely. It takes a long time to build up followers. When you start from zero, if you're not already a celebrity or a radio or TV host or something, like there is a lot of free labor that has gone into that channel, that has gone into our channels. And that's the hard part, is building it up. And clearly YouTube can see that channel has taken off, more and more viewers. Just even in recent weeks, the viewership has been spiking. And, that's good for us. And we'll be back in a week. But the question now is, are they going to shadow ban us? Are we not going to get as many pushes in the algorithm? Or just, now that we have a strike, all of us hosts now have to mind our P's and Q's above and beyond because we don't want to potentially risk a second strike because that will be way worse than a 1-week ban.
Yeah, I was going to say, dude, and not only to mind your P's and Q's, because we've already been doing that. Like, here's the thing. The rules for this, the community guidelines need to be black and white. There shouldn't be a ton of shades of gray in here. So we can follow those rules without fear of breaking them. Right. But if you let something like this go through and say, oh, yeah, we're banning you for that, that leaves everything else open to interpretation. So I can't do anything right because you decide.
Totally. And I mean, we do this all the time. Part of these videos are you take little clips that you comment on, or you can slip a little clip in for a punchline or set up a joke, like, fair use of trademarked things out there in the YouTube world. So it's completely logical if I go on YouTube and I find a clip on YouTube that I would assume it's okay to use on YouTube because it's freaking there. I mean, so I don't expect all these other channels that are using that clip and have it. I mean, one of them had 500,000 views. It's been up there for years. Like, I guarantee they're not going to go away unless they use it in a political way in this day and age.
Well, and you know what else is just kind of scary to think about is that if for some reason somebody decides to, I think the next step, if somebody wants to ban the page, they'll just ban it for good. And I don't know what the recourse is to that because, like I said, a lot of time and monetary investment has gone into this. So, but like you said, it's a private business. So, I mean, this is really kind of a no-win game.
Yes, it is. So I don't know what I'm asking the audience to do or for us to do, because on one level, I want to vent about this and get the story out there, but I don't need to piss YouTube off anymore because they seem to be a little vindictive at the moment. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, I think that at the very least, this is something that as all this crap is going on politically right now, and they're saying like, oh, hey, look over here. Look at this. Don't look at this. This is a thing that we definitely need to be focusing on. Not because it affects us and we're asking for help in that sort of way, but if they could do this to us, this goes way beyond the scope of that for freedom of speech and what we're allowed to talk about in dissent, and any sort of progress that can be made in this world is instantly taken from us. You, me, everybody.
No, exactly. It's the slippery slope thing. They're doing it to us. Who else are they going to do it to? So, yeah, it's a scary sign of the times. And that's a big part of what that frickin' channel is there for, is to push back on the Trump administration. And now here we are getting censored, I think, because of it. So, scary times. I've said for a while, like, go ahead, Trump, come after us. We could use the free press. But not if you shut down the channel we're on, because then we have no way to speak out.
Yeah, there's so many crazy things happening right now that, I mean, this one is obviously crazy because it affects everybody, but there is so much stuff going on right now that I get done watching or reading and I'm like, I can't believe that. I literally can't believe it.
Yeah.
But here we are.
I really cannot believe that the bosses at The View went to those yentas and said, stop criticizing Trump so much. Like, that is what people have been saying media is for years, and it never has been that way. Nick and I have been in media forever. No boss has ever told us, don't talk politics, don't talk about this or that. But we're living in it now, where corporate bosses are going to the on-air talent and telling them what they can and can't say. And I'm glad the View people, both pro and con, the liberals and conservatives, they all pushed back. Said, hell no, we've been doing it, we're going to keep doing it. But, the next news show or whatever, they're not going to put money into that if that's what they're going to be doing.
100% right. And I mean, that's where things differ, is that if you come at this from a place of, hey, stop talking about this, like, we don't want to get any more attention from the Trump administration than we're already getting, that's not okay. If you think your audience doesn't like hearing about it all the time, then you can come to me and say, like, it doesn't rate well. It's the programming's not right. You can come and do that, but you can't tell me to shut up because you are afraid that something's going to happen.
Absolutely. If the content is not resonating, then that's a different thing. You got to adjust your programming. You need to keep the audience. As you know, I just read Chris Hayes' book. I read it, audiobook. All about attention spans, the sound of the siren, the call of the siren, siren's call, something like that. And he was talking at one point on there about his show, that when he first started, ratings were bad, but the NBC believed in him and they started, scripting the segments different and were testing what stories test well with the audience. And his point is that this theory that the media is controlled by corporations, that we're telling you what we want you to hear, he was like, it's laughable. We cannot force you, the audience, to just sit here and watch stuff. Otherwise, this would be easy and we'd all do it. You guys determine what we can do. We may put stuff out that we think is a good idea, but if you shoot it down, like, it's not going to come back on tomorrow's show. Or he talked about, like, national tragedies, when the submarine was missing and they did weeks of coverage on it. He said at some point the ratings just fell off a cliff because people were over it. So we stopped talking about it. Could we have kept forcing on you? I guess. But we need an audience. So
100%. The Pope is a great example of this. I can't tell you how many people that I talked to that were like, God, I'm sick of it. It's wall to wall Pope coverage.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, completely. And I think there was a lot of people out there, but there were more people that wanted to hear about the Pope, and they stopped talking about it when people stopped wanting it. That's just how media works.
Exactly. So your conspiracy theories that the media is manipulating you is not true. You're actually manipulating the media. So I hope you feel better about that.
Yeah, I hope so too. Well, I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that things end well here for Really American because, like Steve was saying, I mean, I don't know. We enjoy not only being on the page and a part of the crew, but we think they're doing important work. And for us to be able to be a part of that is pretty awesome. So with or without me, I hope that Really American it does, fantastic things and this blows over.
Totally agree. And by the way, the page is active as far as the videos are there. You can comment, you can like. We just can't put anything new out there. And we were trying to go live on there today. We can't do that. Like the page is frozen as far as new content, but you can still go check out what is there. And I would encourage everyone to do that. And midweek next week, I guess, Wednesday or something, Thursday, I don't know. We'll all be back. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
But anyways. It is Memorial Day weekend. Yeah. Do you have anything good coming up this weekend?
No, not really. I mean, we're getting ready to go out of the country, and I feel like my timeline to get things taken care of is short. So I think just doing a bunch of shit to prepare, really.
Yeah, right on. I don't have any particular plans. I was going to crank out a bunch of videos for Really American Media because my girlfriend's gone and my son's not here. So that opened up my weekend quite a bit. So I will probably get out on the trails. I did this crazy thing to my finger. I snapped a tendon. So I can't actually ride my dirt bike, but I have my quad that is really for like kids and girlfriends because it's a user-friendly sort of device. So it doesn't have a clutch. So I can get out there on the trails and ride with one hand.
Yeah, at least get out a little bit in the open air. Yeah,
exactly. And I can't play guitar right now, which really sucks. But
I thought you were going to get a slide, dude.
I'm working on that. I do need to order that. Yeah. My therapist the other day tried to convince me that just play with your right hand, just so you have the feel of the guitar. I'm like, I don't know if you understand how guitar works. My left hand is not playing. I get to sit there and strum open strings, I guess, but I don't know what that does.
Yeah, you just flip it over, dude. Jimi Hendrix did it. Yeah, I mean, you can figure it out, right?
Yeah, so I'm working on that. But yeah, it is Memorial Day weekend, and I found two lists that I thought we should run through real quick. The first one is sort of the do's or don'ts or the etiquette of Memorial Day weekend.
Okay. Well, which we obviously need to know because I mean, I just don't know much about what it is. So,
well, speaking of politics, we'll see if Trump does it again this year, but he has a habit of tweeting a happy Memorial Day. And most people jump on him when he does that because first thing on the list is, do you say happy Memorial Day? And the article points out that no, you don't wish anyone a happy Memorial Day. This is not Christmas. Memorial Day was not founded in joy with the promise of bringing glee each year. It was established as a way for the country to set aside time to honor the troops who have given their lives in service to America.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. It's because I think people, I don't think people really know what it is a lot of the time, right?
Yes.
And I mean, obviously, we should know that for the remembrance of our troops and everything. But yeah, what did I say when we came on?
Happy Memorial Day.
No, I didn't say happy.
What was it? Have a joyful Memorial Day. You said something positive.
Yeah, I said something positive of celebration. Are you celebrating Memorial Day? Is what I said.
Right.
Yeah,
that is what you said.
So yeah, I think I think we should be able to celebrate Memorial Day because we are celebrating the honor, the lives. I mean, we're celebrating a life well lived.
Yeah.
You know.
Listen, there's a little bit of shaming going on with this thing because every week at Memorial Day weekend on Facebook, always some friends of mine post this whole like, when you're out barbecuing, make sure you remember those that died to give you this weekend. Like, you know what? I can both honor veterans that have died and enjoy a freaking holiday weekend because it is America and that is what they fought for us to be able to enjoy a goddamn day off and have a barbecue. I don't have to sit around being somber and crying all weekend. Yeah, I can get out and have some fun and still, hold a little place in my heart for people that died in service.
Yeah, well, you're 100% right because I mean, isn't the best way to memorialize our veterans that we've lost that fought for freedoms is to live free?
Yes, live the American life. Yes,
Yeah.
have a barbecue, crack open a Budweiser, or a better beer, ideally. But so it's a little bit of ball busting, but I certainly understand the notion. Don't wish somebody a happy Memorial Day. So do with that as you.
Okay. All right.
The next one on the list, and I see this one too. I think the reason people want to say Happy Memorial Day is they confuse it with 4th of July, which is a celebration of our independence, or some people will confuse it with actual Veterans Day. Now, on Veterans Day, you can thank any troop, active, retired, deceased. Your wife, retired military, you can wish her a Happy Veterans Day because she's a veteran.
Yes. But I won't wish her a happy Memorial Day.
Right. So the next thing on the list is do not thank any current troops. And I would say that probably means any veterans that are alive. At least don't thank them just because it's Memorial Day. They deserve respect and gratitude every day of the year, obviously. But this day was set aside for those that died in the line of duty. So unless you're thanking a tombstone, don't thank any troops that are alive.
Yeah.
At least not for Memorial Day. You can thank her for their service, blah, 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 blah.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, we really got to know what the difference is here. So this is a good show for everyone to listen to.
Right. Do you thank people for their service when they say it? Like, I feel some societal pressure when somebody announces it, but I don't know. Like, did you serve on the front lines? How active were you? Like, do I need to thank every single one for their service?
Of
Is
course
it just
you do.
a hollow sentiment?
Listen, I think it can be. I think your meaning and intent to why you're saying it matters. But as far as were you on the front line, my wife gave me this. Like, she gets really uncomfortable when someone thanks her for her service, because she was like, I wasn't on the front lines. Like, I didn't shoot anybody. So, but the way I explain this to her is, what it is it is signing on the dotted line, knowing somebody owns you for at least 4 years, and they can put you in any situation that they want to, and you can't say no. Yeah. That is worth a thank you for your service. If you want to get into a conversation with somebody about, what did you do? Was it more important? I mean, like, Rachel was a translator, so her work was important, but she wasn't getting shot at, so how do you weigh that?
But she could have been on the base, or, out on some convoy going from spot A to spot B. So
for sure.
Also, it's a little disingenuous to say that only the men and women on the front line are the important ones, because they can't be there without that entire infrastructure around them.
Well, yeah, 100%. And you always think to, well, at least I thought about this. Like, remember Good Morning Vietnam? I always thought, like, oh man, that would have been my job, right? In the military. And how unimportant might that look, that I'm going to get on and I'm going to, rouse the troops up, or I'm going to entertain for a while. Like, every job in the military is a cog in the wheel, and it is important. It's hard to look and say this is more important than that, because they don't all work unless you have them all together.
Yep. Nope. Totally fair. The next one on this list is don't disregard Memorial Day's importance. Though discounts abound for nearly everything from cars to furniture to pool supplies, that's not what the holiday's about. You can buy a mattress, but when we focus only on the backyard barbecues or discounts on appliances, we allow the true meaning to become lost, particularly when the country has perpetually been at war forever and ever.
Yeah.
So that goes to what I was talking about earlier, the shaming of, enjoy your barbecue, but don't forget why. Like, you don't have to be a dick about it, everybody. But sure, that's the reason there's an appliance sale this weekend.
On days such as this, okay, like Memorial Day, do you take any quiet time for yourself and, like, really reflect on what the day means and stuff like, do you take it that seriously?
No. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have a general understanding of that concept in regard for our freedoms and what we've had to do. And you can look at the military in a couple of ways. I mean, brave men and women defending us, but we've also started some wars we shouldn't have and stayed in places too long. So no, I don't know that on Memorial Day I sit there in a moment of silence, but I have a general understanding of it.
Yeah. Okay. Just curious. I mean, I feel the need to think and I guess gratitude is the way I'm trying to look at it, is to be like, oh, I'm so grateful for everything that people did for me and still do. But I don't know a ton of people in the military right now actively. So, like, who do I think of? My grandfather, my wife who used to serve? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. What about those of us not in the military trying to save the country? I mean, we are doing the work that, this country was somewhat founded on, like holding truth to power, speaking out, dissent, protest, accountability. I mean, I'm not trying to say we're taking bullets, but we are doing something very patriotic by trying to speak out against clear abuses of authority and power going on.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I would agree with you, but I know there's a lot of people that don't. Like, even people that I talk to are just like, why do you care so much? Well, be thankful that I do. Okay. Be thankful that I do, because we need somebody to care, so this doesn't all go away. I don't think people do realize, people that can say that, like, why do you care so much? My sister's a great example. Well, like my sister's a great person, but she is of that mindset. Like, well, why do you care so much? Why do you put so much energy into it? Because I don't think you understand how fragile this all is. And in the grand scheme of things, just a couple hundred years, dude. Okay. I mean, this is a couple of generations, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
This is very fragile.
Yeah, no, a lot of people forget about that. 1776 was 200 something years ago. I had a grandfather lived to be 101. So that would be
Yeah.
about two of those grandfathers, and they're the
That's what I'm
founding
saying.
fathers.
Right. Yeah. A couple
not that long.
generations. That's nuts, dude.
Totally. No, it's funny. Kennedy came over last night, and Kennedy's a school principal and had a long day of doing things with kids and teachers and parents, and she was kind of venting about her long day. But then she was like, "I don't know why I'm venting to you. You spent the day trying to save our democracy." And I'm just like, I think you're overstating that a little bit. Like, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm fighting the good fight, but you're trying to raise the next generation of kids from all
Yeah.
sorts of households and economic classes. Like, I'm not sure. I appreciate your sentiment, but I think you're doing a little more hands-on work.
I love that she looks at our work as so important. I mean, I think it's very respectable that she feels that way. But yes, you're right. I mean, she's out raising our next generation. Like, there's so many people putting in the good fight. So it takes all kinds.
I sit in my home studio all day talking to a camera. Like, I'm just
Right.
alone in a room, venting about politics.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on down the line here, Memorial Day. Don't let politics keep you from rendering respect. I think we may be doing that right now. Even if you don't agree with the idea of war or the reasons that America goes to war or the policies of a particular president who was the commander in chief during a specific war, it shouldn't matter. People have defended the people and interest of America for over 200 years, and your right to disagree with those reasons for war should be separate from your opinion of the troops themselves. And I think we have made that distinction.
You do?
I do. We're not going off on the troops for these things.
No,
We understand
no.
they're following orders. They're
Yeah.
saying it's okay to be pissed at any of these presidents over 200 years. Just don't take it out on the troops. And I would tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I would think so too. That seems laughable to me, really, that we would, but we did it. People did it for Vietnam. Like people do take it out on the troops, and you're exactly right. Don't take it out on them. I mean, they're just following orders. I mean, that's a great question to think about. Like, if you sign up for the military, like I was saying, like you just got to do what they tell you to do. You would think that, like, oh, if somebody told me something that I wasn't comfortable with, I would be like, no, that's not right. But you don't have that option, dude. You'll go to
No.
jail.
I was gonna say you can get court-martialed. Like,
Yeah.
you have signed up for that world. So unless you're some general or something, then you're there to execute orders. You don't have to agree with them. That's part of the gig. So, and that always irritated me, the whole Vietnam stuff. I mean, that was before our time, obviously, but
Yeah.
spitting on troops. Like, what? I know they were the ones over there pulling the trigger, but they didn't just go there. It wasn't their weekend plans.
Yeah, and don't think for a second that they wanted to be there. Okay, I mean, people were drafted and sent there as children, for crying out loud. So yeah, I never understood that, like spitting on people and the way that they were treated so poorly for a long time, not just like a year or two after the war. It continued for a long time.
Yeah, no, for sure. So those are my do's and don'ts for Memorial Day weekend. And then I have real quick here. This is kind of odd, but a list of things that you should be throwing away this Memorial Day weekend.
Okay. Well, I'll let you know the first thing, okay? Because I want to really save some people with this, okay? I don't think that America understands how much food poisoning is involved in refried and baked beans. And I bring up baked beans because it's a barbecue weekend. If you let baked beans sit out, they're one of the foods that we have on this planet that catches botulism and food poisoning faster than any other food, including meat. So as we go into your Memorial Day weekend, eat the baked beans, but if they're not kept on the stove and at temp, don't eat them for very long after. Throw them out or you're going to pay the price.
Wow. This sounds like a very specific example. Have you gotten sick from this or witnessed this?
No, I haven't got sick from it or witnessed it. I read about it because baked or refried beans. I had a question about refried beans. I asked Alexa one day, "Hey, how long can I keep Mexican food in the fridge? Can I eat it 3 days if I got it 3 days ago?"
Yeah.
And it said, "Have the baked refried beans sat out at all?" And I said, "Yeah, well, yeah, they sat out for a while." And then I started researching. Beans pick up food poisoning very quickly.
Just from the air, you mean? Or they go bad quickly?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have them at temp, the bacteria grows in beans very quickly.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah,
Did
so
not know
if we're
that.
talking about throwing things out, throw the baked beans out if they haven't been kept at temp, all right?
See, we are saving lives on this show. So thank you for your service, Nick. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate You're welcome. You're welcome.
First of all, I don't know why anyone's working on Memorial Day weekend as far as doing house chores or whatever, but this article suggests these are the things to throw away this weekend. Old winter stuff. Go through your old winter coats and hats and everything and throw them out. Huh?
Why?
Right?
Why? Yeah, I mean, I guess if they don't fit anymore, but why am I doing it on my day off?
Exactly.
We don't get that many.
It says take a few minutes to pull out anything that no longer fits or that you didn't get any out of use out of and donate it. The goal, fill at least one bag. I don't have enough winter gear if I have all of it to fill a garbage bag. I got a jacket, some pants, some gloves, few hats. Like, you want me?
Yeah.
What am I throwing away?
I don't know, dude. This is very strange. I don't know why we're working, and I don't know why we're getting rid of our ski gear.
Right. So, very odd.
Yeah.
The next thing on the list, the opposite, I guess, broken summer gear, because we're getting ready to head into summer. So go through your patio furniture, your beach balls. Did my ex-wife write this list or my mother? Like, clean your room. You've got time off this weekend.
Who did write it? Where'd you get this list from?
I didn't copy the article name, but it was some online magazine that, put out this list of things to throw away this Memorial Day weekend because you
All
have
right.
nothing better to do. So,
Yeah, right.
how about this? Throw away your expired sunscreen. Its sunscreen expires?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, on some level, it does expire. I mean, all prescription drugs, their shelf life is about 1 year before it starts degradation. It starts getting weaker. It doesn't go bad. It starts getting weaker.
Yeah. I had asked my dad about that once because I think it was anti-nausea meds. And I was like, oh, crap, they expired a year ago. He was like, they're fine. I promise you. They
Right.
still work. They will for
Yeah.
years. Just legally speaking, there has to be some shelf life. But I assure you, it's chemically intact still. It's not dairy that goes bad.
You know what? It's crazy, Steve. The things, if you really go to start to do some research on sell-by dates on food, like in the grocery stores and stuff, so much. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but it's high, like 85, 90% is arbitrarily set because they got to keep us buying food, like you got to keep us buying the food. So they put those dates on there. Like, I learned a while ago that eggs, you can test them to see if they're still good and how fresh they are. If you take an egg and you put it in a glass of water, if it sinks down and touches the bottom of the glass, then it is still edible and fresh enough to eat. If it floats, it's not. So I kept some eggs because I wanted to see how far past the date on that package that an egg was still good.
Yeah.
It was weeks, dude. Weeks I kept doing it and it was good. And I ate it.
Wow. What if a chicken comes out? Does that mean they're past their prime? Or?
Depends. I mean, if you're Filipino, you love that shit, dude.
Yeah, what, balut? Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
Wow. You see that little useless information that's been in my brain since Seattle 20 years ago?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So, yeah, most food lasts well beyond. I think it was John Oliver a couple of years ago did a great. John Oliver does serious news on that show. It's funny too, but he does actual good journalism.
Yeah.
And he did
Yeah.
a whole thing about expiration dates. And essentially, the corporations will tell you we're erring on the side of caution. We know it's good for at least 10 days, so we're gonna, stamp that okay. but really they're erring on that side of caution to get you to throw it out and to go buy more. I mean, it's a conspiracy disguised as erring on the side of caution.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy how wasteful this country specifically is with food. You know, the stuff we throw away. So
Exactly.
Rachel's crazy with the expiration dates on food. If it is maybe even the day before it expires, that's too close for her. She doesn't like that shit. One thing I always razz her about is she goes through our spice drawer and looks at expiration dates. I'm like, it's dried oregano. Like, there's nothing that could possibly go wrong with it unless it might lose a little flavor after a while, but it's not going bad. She doesn't believe me.
Yeah, it's funny. Next thing on the list, things you should throw away this Memorial Day weekend. Nick, any tote bags that you no longer use, you should throw away. How many tote bags do people have?
Jeez, dude. I you know what? I have an inordinate amount of tote bags only because Rachel goes to like lawyer conventions. There's always swag coming into my house. So
I
I
constantly given a PBS or something.
no, dude, but I probably do have too many tote bags. Maybe that's what I'm doing this weekend.
Well, all right. I didn't know this was an issue for anyone, but yes, thin out your tote bag herd. And the last one on the list is dead house plans. Throw those away. What if you have a dead house plan? What the hell are you waiting on? You really need a holiday weekend to decide. Like, finally, I'm going to throw that brown, dead, flaking piece of turd away.
Want to know a great story, dude? This is a great story.
Sure.
And this is the first time I'm ever revealing this. So maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I bought this house plant at IKEA. We went over to IKEA and they had this really cool plant that was more of it's not a bonsai, but it looks like a kind of a bonsai-like plant.
Okay.
Well, it died maybe 2 weeks after I got it home. All the leaves fell off of it, and I kept it for a little bit just because I thought, I wonder if it'll come back, because that seemed to die weird. Well, it never has, but it's got stumps. It's got roots that come up, so like there's still a little wooden sculpture in this plant pot.
Okay.
My brother years ago was like, when are you going to throw that plant away? Like, that plant is obviously dead. You got to get rid of that. And I lied to him and I was like, oh no, it comes back every year. I mean, it's an annual. So every time he comes to my house, he's like, I've now been marking. I've been here every month and I've never seen leaves on that tree. So he finally got me. I was like, all right, I was lying, dude. I just like the sticks in it. So
That's funny. Yeah, who knew? Hey, speaking of which, things you should throw away, the shelf life, or do herbs go bad? And maybe for some stoners, this is not an issue, but how long can pot sit around, actual leaves, before you should no longer be smoking it? Now, like I said, most stoners won't ever let a quantity of pot just sit around for a long time. But
Yeah.
I've encountered this before. I'm mainly vaping nowadays. And when I moved a year ago, I had found some little nug that I just had never smoked. And it was like a year old. I mean, it was dried out, to say the least. But
Yeah.
does it still get you high? Is it bad to smoke something that dry? Like, err on the side of caution? I don't know.
I'll tell you, the oldest I've ever smoked was over 20 years old.
Oh.
Over 20-year-old flower.
It hurts your lungs, right?
It tastes terrible. It hurts your lungs, and the potency does go down a bit. I mean, it's not going to make you sick or anything, though. It's a flower. It's, a dried flower at this point. So,
Yeah. That's almost like smoking a cigarette, though. Because that's why I've always said I don't smoke cigarettes because I want to get something. I know you get a little nicotine buzz, but I want to get an actual high if I'm going to smoke something. So why would you smoke pot that's 20 years old that's going to barely give you some, a little warm fuzzy?
I'll tell you why I did it is because I was on vacation and it ended up snowing while we were on vacation. I didn't bring a jacket. So my dad gave me his jacket and I was outside playing in the snow and I fell and something poked me. There was one of those pockets on the sleeve, a little zipper pocket, and I opened it up and there was a little one-hitter stuffed with bud in there.
Wow.
And I was like, at this point, I was like, my dad didn't obviously smoke pot. that he ever told me about.
Right.
So I was like, I can pull this out here and smoke it, because, well, he's not going to be like, hey, what'd you do with my pot? Or did you take this? So that's why I smoked it. I was on vacation. I was like, okay, fantastic. There's
That's
a little
hilarious.
old weed. Yeah.
I would get pissed at my son. I'd call him out.
No,
I
you
know
would
most-
not.
Did you smoke my pot? God damn it.
Speaking of which, when is that conversation coming? Have you decided yet?
That's a great question. It's funny because speaking of Kennedy, I was over at her place a week or two ago, and her daughter, we were hanging out with her, and her daughter is 22. And Kennedy said something about, Steve stopped by the pot shop on 420 and they had all these great deals going on. And my just instinct was, what are you doing telling a child? Like, this is one of our key, like, I have kept it so hidden from my children their entire lives. And I do not know if they know. I am pretty sure Neo listens to this podcast. So I think they have figured it out perhaps, but they've
Right.
never mentioned it to me. And I don't know at what point either I reveal the big secret or do I do it in a sort of relatable way? Because my son has talked about the fact that people have offered to get him a vape pen, come to the party Friday. What kind of vape you want? I'll get you one. Like, do I just finally break down and be like, you know what? Your dad has sex. Let's talk about that. And I smoke pot. Let's talk about that. Like, destigmatize it all. I'm a normal human. You're old enough now to know these things.
Yeah.
Or is it the classic, like, you don't talk about sex, drugs, just leave it alone. They'll figure it out on their own. See no evil, hear no evil.
It's interesting thing to think about. I mean, the only thing I could see a good reason for having the conversation is because your son has asked some questions, and there are, like we've discussed, more dangers now with fentanyl laced product and stuff like that. So, like, I don't know, did you ever have any friends with parents like, I'd rather have them drink in my house? I know they're out there doing it anyway, so I'll let them have a beer here. My parents were not those people, but I had friends whose parents were that way. Like, would it be beneficial at all to say, like, look, if you ever do it, like, I want to make sure you're safe, so please come to me,
Yeah, there is something to that and destigmatizing it. And I would rather my kids be stoners than alcoholics or something. So, and what about the families that just openly smoke pot in front of their kids? Back in the Seattle days, there was a guy I used to buy from that openly did in front of his kids. And I always kind of looked down my nose at him for doing it. And it's part of the reason why I never showed my kids.
Yeah. I don't think it's appropriate. Like, let's be honest, okay? I don't want to smoke pot with my parents. I wouldn't want to. Like, that's a time for me to sit with my buddies or just by myself and relax. And I don't want to be high in front of my parents, and especially with them high. Like, that's just weird shit, man.
Now, I will say this is not scientific, it's anecdotal, but I do know somebody, we'll leave her unnamed, but her ex-husband smoked pot all the time, and he did it in front of the kids their entire lives. So those kids grew up with a dad who came home from work and just lit up the bong or the joint or whatever, did it in front of them. And now both of those kids also smoke pot. Whereas I hid it from my kids. And as far as I know, my kids do not smoke pot. So is it the old, no one wants to be like their parents. So if you're smoking in front of them, they won't. Or are you normalizing to a point that they will, of course, become stoners by the time they're 14 or 15 or whatever? Like, again, this is anecdotal, but I will just say 2 families, 2 different results. I hit it. My kids don't do it. That dad did not hit it. His kids do it.
I think it makes it easier because it's an option. You know what I mean? Like, when I grew up, my dad and mom didn't like sit around drinking alcohol all the time, but like there was always beer in my dad's fridge that he drank, and that's kind of how I have lived. So maybe there's something there of just like, yeah, that's kind of how I grew up, and I guess it makes it an option easier.
And you see, that's interesting too, because my parents did not drink. I mean, socially here and there, but we didn't really have alcohol in the house. No one drank at dinner, and I didn't have my first sip of alcohol till I was like 18. So I don't know if there's cause and effect there or not. And yeah, pot is legal now. Plenty of families have a bottle of wine on the table. You don't have the bong on the table. I'm still waiting for that tipping point in society.
There still is stigma because I mean, even with your firstborn, like if there really was no stigma to it, you would have said to them a long time ago, like, you know, you want to smoke some pot, or are you smoking pot, or how's the pot in your town you're living in? That type of thing, you know?
I feel it's like their sex life. Like you're having sex, okay, be safe, be smart. I do not need to sit here and hear stories about it. Just like
Yeah.
I'm not, you're smoking pot, okay, cool. But we're not going to sit here and smoke pot together and hang out. And maybe
Right.
someday we'll get to that point, but we're not there now, and I don't foresee myself ever being comfortable with that. That sounds like the
Yeah.
most uncomfortable situation there is. So,
Completely, man. I was ripped stoned when I was 17 years old. I was over at a friend's house, and my dad came over to get something from me unexpectedly. Didn't know he was coming, and I had just gotten ripped. And he popped over, and I was so stoned in front of him and had to be normal that I thought to myself, like, that is the worst feeling I've ever felt, to try and be normal in front of them. So I would never have any want, need, or desire to smoke in front or with or even around my parents. I
Yeah.
don't. It's nothing. I don't want to do that.
no, I totally agree. But strangely though, like when my kids turned 21, I look forward to getting the first beer at the bar with them or something. That does seem
Why?
like just because it's a passage of life, like the big 21 marquee moment, and now you're in on the big secret or whatever, like you're part of it. So I don't want to get shit faced with my kids. That seems terrible. But to be able to have a beer with my kid, like I don't know, that does sound like a milestone in life.
You know what? That's the difference though, is because you can have a beer and not get tipsy or drunk or anything. You never are smoking pot, and you're gonna get stoned every time you do it. Like
Yeah.
otherwise, why would you do it?
Yeah, nope. All very fair points. So
Yeah.
all right. Well, we had some other topics we were going to get to, but I don't think we need them. So we'll save those for another day.
Yeah. Okay, we can do that. Well, happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody.
Yes,
Go
go
out and
celebrate.
celebrate. In all sincerity, I hope you do have a nice weekend. Just opened up, so yeah, go out, hit the trails, and enjoy yourself a little bit. Hey,
will
let's
do
just
that.
say real quick, Steve.
Yeah.
Are you really? I told Rachel last night. Steve's kind of excited about this white party, Euro dance party.
Mm.
You know, she was like, "Aren't you?" I was like, I said the same thing to her that I said to you. I was like, "I'm not going to be able to do any drugs or anything, so like, it seems kind of silly to me." And she was like, "It'll be fun."
Yeah. So first of all, I didn't realize Nick and I and our significant others are all going to Greece in a couple of weeks. This is like a fantasy dream trip that was put together outside of my pocketbook per se. A phenomenal gift that Kennedy is doing, and so yeah, we're joining you and Rachel. And I had said months ago that we should go to some like Euro dance club. Like that is so not our scene, but I
Yeah.
feel like we're in Europe. You do like they do in Rome, right? Is that we're here in Rome?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
Rome's doing. We're
yeah.
going to be close to Rome. So yeah, I thought that could be fun. Do a little night at the Roxbury, kind of just go in one of these clubs. But I didn't realize it was some drugged out cokehead scene or whatever. We don't have to be part of that. We can just drink, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that I guess there's a part of me that wants to be a part of that. Like I want to do some hard drugs, but I can't really. I'm getting too old for hard drugs,
I've never really done them. I tried Coke once when I was like 19. It was disgusting. I've never touched it since.
Yeah.
So no, I don't foresee being in a foreign land for that to be a good time to experiment with our
Probably
drugs.
not. Yeah.
But yeah, just to get a little drunk or whatever and do a little Euro dance things. Oh yeah, but we cannot back out of this now because Kennedy did get me a white outfit, so we got to go to this thing.
What are your pants that are white? Are they shorts or pants?
I have not seen the outfit yet. This is a surprise coming my way. She
Okay.
ordered it off Temu just before the tariffs went into effect. So
Okay.
it's supposed to be here the week before we leave, but it's white pants, I understand, like the linen kind or whatever that.
Okay. That's
European
the
thing.
linen you got is the white.
Well, I got another pair too, brown, but
Okay.
yes, it's my understanding that they're white linen pants, and I think some sort of button-up collared short sleeve shirt is what I'm thinking it is. So.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to go do the white party, I guess, So, yeah, we'll see. That was my other question. Are we going to try and do some sort of content while we're there? We never completely memorialized that.
Assuming Really American Media is back up and running by 3 weeks from now, I think it would be fun if you and I just let the girls go to the pool or the spa or something. If we just took an hour, went around town, I would just love to ask random people, what do you think of President Trump? Just leave it at that. I'm just wondering what content we can get out of locals or tourists there. And then I think we send it back to Really American and let Kenny or Tony just use that as one of their videos. Nick and Steve are in Greece here, and they can just riff on and laugh. And, we could get some really interesting content from random, Europeans or Grecians or whatever the hell they're called. So
Yeah, or we could get beat up. So
we should say, hey, we're Canadian. What do you think of that dumb American president?
Yeah, right.
So I don't want to sit editing and all that stuff, but it would be kind of fun to run around and just do some random interviews and see if we can get something, interesting out of it. Because I do wonder what their thoughts are.
Yeah. Yep. It'll be interesting. Like I told you, when I've been out of the country during this whole debacle we call a presidency, people have been somewhat vocal about it. So we'll see if things are any different with this second term.
Yeah. And if we don't get anything good, then whatever. We spend an hour walking around Zekatitanos and whatever and talking to people.
Yes. Yeah. Are you getting a tattoo with me?
No.
Why wouldn't you do it, dude? If you really want to live like the Grecians, you should get a tattoo with me.
I was going to eat grapes sprawled out in my yoga toga thing or whatever. No, I'm not getting tattoos, period. And speaking of Kennedy, I learned getting tattoos on vacation is probably not a good idea because she got one in Mexico and the guy spelled it wrong. So I think you want to go to a reputable local artist that you know and trust and get it done there.
I've already got one tattoo in Greece last time, and I'm going back to the same guy. Already got the appointment, so you should come with me. You could trust him, dude. He's real good.
I'll come and watch, but there is no scenario, unless I am all coked up, that I am going to go get a tattoo on this or any other trip.
All right. Okay, dude, that's fine. No Spider-Man tattoo for you. I already got the gift certificate, but whatever.
No. Maybe I'll pierce something. That's temporary.
Oh, that's good. That's a great idea. Get a Prince Edward. Is that what they call it? You do your penis head.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking, but I'll put some thought into that for sure.
Okay. All right, dude. Well, that's going to do it for today's podcast. Thanks for joining us. The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Find our website, thevocalminority.net. Social medias like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, and beautiful blue sky.
Yes. Call our comment line 844-48-VOCAL, thevocalminority.net. Until next time.
What up, everybody? It's Whoopi. I tried to get these white boys to come on The View, and they said no. I guess I'll just enjoy them here, like everyone else does. This has been a production of The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. The guys release 2 podcasts every week. Peace in the Middle East.